Hello and welcome back to Into the Movieverse. We have a banger here for you today, everybody. Cody and I are reviewing yet another Robert Pattinson movie with Willem Dafoe. You might have heard of it, you might have not. It's called The Lighthouse. Welcome to episode 15.
Episode 15,
We are very excited to be with you today. Talking about this whirlwind of a movie. So without further ado, let's hop straight into it. I believe we have somewhat of a layout today. To plot, the style of the movie, theories, and then we'll go into our thoughts. So starting off, I guess, with the plot / the story. You talk a little bit about this, Cody. Because did you watch this a second time, by the way?
I did not yet, but I still plan on watching it a second time because I think this is like Tenet in the sense of you get more appreciation and you'll see more detail by watching it multiple times. So this is about two lighthouse keepers in the late 1890s or in the 1890s, and they start their 4-week shift together. This is the first time they've met, and it's about their adventure and the chaos that ensues during the 4-week period. And that's as far as I'm going to say without spoiling it for now. We'll probably get into it, but it's definitely very unique. The film is shot in a square. It's not widescreen. It has a very unique perspective, black and white. And I really love that. I feel like that really lends to the style of the movie. Like, I was so captured by it at the beginning. The acting is phenomenal. So if we're going to be talking about any problems with this movie, the acting is not one of them. It's just Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson killed it.
So yeah, it was filmed in 4x3, and they used Panavision Millennium XL2 cameras, which were equipped with vintage 1930 Baltar lens and black and white Eastman Double X 5222 film. So that's how you got that like grainy texture, and sort of that like vibe of the whole movie.
So it was authentic. It wasn't like a post effect to make it look that way. That's cool.
I'm sure they added some stuff in at the end, but like for the most part, yeah, they did it pretty much authentic, which it did kind of give me that like feel. Yeah. Like it kind of looks like it was just set up to be that way. And what I kind of found interesting was like when they're walking up to the lighthouse for the first time, they're switching out the people, and they just kind of stare at you for a little bit.
Yeah, they're looking at the ship behind us. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, you're also kind of looking at them to see how they were beforehand, because you're going to end up seeing what happens to them.
Yeah.
But I guess like a lot of what the review, like not the review, but like a lot of what you read about this movie, like the description, they don't give you much. I
had read an article that Robert Pattinson was pretty much like, they were pretty much telling everyone before its release it was a comedy. And there are really funny moments in this movie, but it's really, I thought it was a comedy. I thought it was a drama comedy. There was no sign of it being what it truly is. And I guess we'll get right into spoilers here. It's basically a psychological horror film. And the cool thing is, what I found amazing was not only did I not know it was a psychological horror, but all it took was the tone of the movie and the way it was filmed to let me know that while watching. Like, I knew it wasn't a comedy a couple minutes in. You start to see all these details and what's going on. You're like, wait a minute, something is off here. And it gets really creepy really fast. And it's not like, it's not in your face, you know?
I didn't actually think it was a comedy.
Yeah, well, that's
maybe you went into it thinking it was. Did you see that interview beforehand or after?
After, because I actually did, like, I didn't know anything about it besides there was going to be like humorous moments in it. I didn't think it was like a full-on full-on comedy, jokes all the way. I thought it was still a drama, but I was told that that's what it was. So it was totally not what I expected in a really good way. because I'm not a horror film person. I barely watch any
Me
unless
neither.
someone like
Me neither.
I don't watch them alone. I would never go see one unless someone suggested it. So this was very
Yeah.
different for me.
Like I was on the plane and like I don't watch horror, but I was like, let me try to like watch the new Scream. And I had like 30 minutes left in my flight. And I kind of just stopped watching it and like did something else because I guess like Scream's not really like I don't know. Isn't Scream sort of one of those like riffs on like the horror genre?
No, Scream
Like
is like one of the original classic horror movies. Like the
I
Scream.
didn't really like the new one, but
Uh,
other than that, like
I've seen some of the originals now.
I was yeah, this is sort of a different take on horror, and this is directed by Robert Eggers, who has directed The Witch, which I know nothing about.
All I know is
Um,
that the reason Robert Pattinson seeked this director out to do this movie was because he watched The Witch and he's like, I want to do something like this. I want to do something totally off the rails and different. And so he told the director.
and it seems like this director loves the past. Like the Witch is 1630s, the Lighthouse is 1890s.
Mm.
So it's really interesting how he likes going back in time. I did you watch this movie with subtitles?
I did not.
I watched it with subtitles.
Mm.
Just because right off the bat I knew they were talking way too low, and I couldn't sit there and not have him on. And it helped me kind of understand a little bit more of what was going on. But this movie just takes you for a whirlwind. Like, I want to talk about the plot, but at the same time, it's sort of like I don't know how.
I mean, I can kind of go into it. Basically, there's so much detail to this. Like, I guess the best way to sum it up is that, you know, at the beginning we know nothing about the keepers. That we know know that there's two of them. Robert Pattinson plays a younger. This is his first time doing this job. And Willem Dafoe's character Thomas is an expert. He's been doing this his whole life. He's like lost his family to it because he's so committed to this work. And then we slowly learn more and more about each character in very interesting ways. Sometimes it seems to be a dream state. Sometimes it seems to be hallucinations. It's hard to tell. In a fun way, it's hard to tell what's real and what's not real when it's happening. And then you learn some really dark secrets about both characters, and you can't tell who's going crazy. If spoilers here, I guess we're just full spoilers anyway. There's a point where Robert Pattinson's character tries to escape with an axe, he tries to escape with the boat to leave the island. And Willem Dafoe's character bashes up the boat and chases him with an axe. But once they're inside, and Willem's trying to calm Robert Pattinson down, he says, "You're so crazy, you try to chase me with an axe." And so you can't tell who's the one going crazy.
Gaslighting him.
You can't tell if he's manipulating him. And I guess we'll never know that, because from the point of view of the movie, we're in Robert Pattinson Thomas's mind, and we can't tell what's real, what's not real, just like he can't. You know? And there, you know,
Right.
I think there's really deep meanings in this movie that you just can't comprehend with a watch. You know, you have to like do a little research. And there's a lot of little details, like the little mermaid doll, and no one knows who put it there. You can't tell if Willem's lying. If he had killed his previous second hand, the previous keeper, couldn't tell if that was an hallucination or if that was real. What's in the
I feel like
light was the big one.
He would have done that though.
Yeah, no, I mean by the end
Because
of it, it's just hard to tell.
I feel like Defoe's character did drive him mad, and like I feel like that was sort of the vicious cycle.
Yeah,
Like before we even hop into theories, like at least from my perspective, some people are saying, okay, you know, like I don't know. because watching it, if you just watch it for what it is, it's, without taking into like that deep context, it's like, okay, you're watching Willem Dafoe's character basically like lie to this other guy, force him to like do the same thing over and over again, has him do the dirty work, never rewards him with going up into like the lighthouse space, and just continuously drives him mad. And like I mean,
Yeah, we also have
an
no
older
clue.
guy, so I guess it's harder to like if we don't know who the other guy was.
We also don't know what's in the lighthouse. That's like the main mystery of this movie is what is in the lighthouse.
Right.
And there's a lot of different ways of looking at it based on the theories, and it's just so interesting because we also see there's also like a lot of sexual stuff in this movie, which seems to be just like sexual tension because of them being stranded alone on an island.
Mm-hmm.
And you see Willem Dafoe's character like naked up in the lighthouse, and then you also see Robert Pattinson's character going crazy and having hallucinations about mermaids.
Yeah. Self-gratification.
And that plays a big part in this. And then also you don't know what's in the lighthouse. There's one scene where you see a monster up there.
Mm-hmm.
And the sound design in this movie really lends to it too. It's really creepy. And he also, Robert Pattinson's character, the crime he committed, killing, either killing or not helping one of his woodworkers up in Canada. And you see, there's some flashbacks where he says to Willem Dafoe's character, I just let it happen, I didn't actually kill him. But there's a flashback where whoever's in the first person view of the hallucination is carrying a giant log spike and pointing it at a log worker. So it looks like Robert Pattinson's character could have killed him and then, took this job to escape that mental stress of what happened in Canada.
Right.
And so like they're both in the sense that they're, it looks like if you believe everything was true and it's not just hallucinations, it's just two murderers on an island going insane, because of being stranded. That was another really interesting point to me. I loved when he was like, so I guess Robert Pattinson's character Thomas, Egerton I think was his name before he revealed his true identity. It was the name of the guy he killed. He was like, so I guess because of the storm, they're not going to come get us tonight. We're going to have to wait till tomorrow or after the storm clears. And Willem Dafoe's character was like, you've been saying that for months. They haven't come for months. So you're like, oh shit!
The whole timeline of the movie you get thrown off.
Yeah, they're like, they were gonna wait because it was the end of 4 weeks, and now you find out it's been months since that 4-week end. But I like how it's in the same perspective as Robert Pattinson. You just don't know. You're like, is that true? Is he lying? Is he manipulating us? Like, it's really well done in that sense.
And they just continuously get drunk.
Yeah.
And start sharing their like personal thoughts on things and like I mean the whole purpose of them getting drunk I think was part of like letting loose and
what else is there to do?
Escaping the reality.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the theories because I think the theories are important to understand in order to understand the movie.
Yeah, so I'll put that up on the podcast now. Put the theories up for our audio listeners.
I don't know what article you're using, but
for our audio listeners, we will explain the theories. So this is an article I was reading the other day on. It's on cinemablend.com. The Lighthouse ending explained. What happened at the end of Robert Pattinson's horror comedy? But I'm going here. Oh, that's a really good image from the movie. I'm gonna just explain. We'll just I'll read the first theory, then we can discuss it.
that photo,
this one
of him like looking into the lighthouse, like the light, reminds me so much of the Indiana Jones.
Oh, the melting face.
The melting face, like that's instantly what I thought about when I saw that.
All right, I'm gonna read this first theory.
All right.
Theory number one. These are the top 3 theories I believe that people are discussing, by the way. So, theory number 1. The lighthouse is a modern retelling of a Greek myth. The first place one may draw from after seeing the lighthouse is through the subtle use of seafaring mythology that is embedded in the DNA of the flick. Co-writer and director Robert Eggers is known for to really delve into researching his work, and the lighthouse is no exception. The filmmaker told Vox that the idea of fable and myth is in the forefront of his process with his partner and brother, Max Eggers. The pair heavily looked into life in the maritime community in the 19th century, and here's where they landed with the story. And then we have a quote about that. But the main reason people are talking about this is, especially what's on the podcast right now for the video format, is we're seeing the ending shot where Robert Pattinson's character is being basically eaten alive by the seagulls, which is basically what Willem Dafoe's character had said would happen to him if with the curse and everything.
If he hurt the seagulls, yeah.
And so that, apparently, and I'm not well versed in Greek mythology, this is a direct resemblance of the Prometheus and Proteus Greek myth. So let's see about that. Prometheus is a titan who is remembered for being a trickster who would steal fire from the gods and give it back to humanity. After his misdeeds, Zeus chained him to a rock and sent an eagle to eat his liver, which is exactly what's happening in the photo, which would grow back overnight for the same torture to resume the next day. Prometheus is the sea god. In the Lighthouse's
Proteus is the sea god.
Oh, Proteus, sorry. In the Lighthouse's case, Willem Dafoe's character would be the god, and Pattinson holds the role of Prometheus. Once he steals the fire, the energy source of the lighthouse, a similar fate to Prometheus befalls on him. And the image is mistakable, like they said, and it's very true. I have no doubt that Robert Eggers was very familiar with this Greek myth when making this film.
And I feel like, before even going into the next ones, that this is the most sound theory.
Yeah, agreed.
Just because it makes so much sense.
It really does.
Like, Pattinson wants to seek the knowledge of the light. He wants to see the lighthouse. He wants to do that kind of stuff. And Defoe's character is guarding the light. He's like, no, you can't have it. You can't ever go to look up there. That's my thing. Like, this is strictly for me. You have to stay down here and do that stuff. So, it makes perfect sense. And I think that this Greek myth thing is the most sound and best theory that we have.
I mean, even in this photo, the way his leg is up and all that, it just looks like something out of one of those Greek paintings, you know?
Yeah.
It really, yeah, and it makes sense too. The whole story about, the two of them fighting each other for the light. And what I really like about this movie is at the end, you don't see what's in the light. I mean, you know something's there, but I like how it's probably like, you can't tell if he's screaming because he's so happy he finally made it, or if he's screaming because he can't tell if it was what he was looking for, if it was worth it, you know?
Right.
And it's really,
and also
really creepy.
the seagull, uncredited, is solely Seagull, by the way. So
yeah.
Just want to give credit to the acting skills of solely Seagull.
Well, also, another detail with the seagull, another detail in this shot is that the entire movie, the seagull he kills has one eye. And who the other person who has one eye in this movie is the head of the previous keeper that Willem Dafoe's character killed. And remember
was that seagull trying to warn?
Well, no. Remember how Willem Dafoe's character said that seagulls are the souls of lost maritimers? Yeah, lost sailors. So the whole idea that this seagull is the soul of the previous keeper. Not only does the seagull have one eye like the keeper, but at this ending shot, Robert Pattinson only has one eye left. So that's like another little detail that's pretty crazy when I read it online, because I did not catch that when watching the movie.
So theory 2 is that Thomas and Ephraim are the same person.
Yeah.
So Thomas, Willem Dafoe's character, Ephraim, Pattinson's character. So another theory is that the two main characters in the film are supposed to represent two different sides of the same mind at odds with one another. The movie was inspired by an actual story that involved two lighthouse keepers who both had the same name. As revealed in the film, they are both named Thomas after he took the name of
Hmm.
the guy that happened in the logging thing. As Robert Eggers said, the idea of the pair sharing the same name struck a chord with the writers and decided to make a film about identity, which is also
Yeah.
interesting. So, thinking of the lighthouse in a more metaphorical sense, the two characters in the film could be representative of the push and pull between Freud's ego
Freud.
and it
Freud.
in the brain. Freud. So
Yeah.
this, I mean, isn't this your thing? To
Yeah. No.
like
Freud is basically the father of therapy and psychology. Well, not psychology, more like therapy. Um, psychotherapy. And Freud's big thing is he's a lot of weird stuff that's no longer relevant today, but a lot of stuff that's still very meaningful. And yeah, the idea of the id and the ego, and like what I think I remember is like the id is your subconscious mind that is, you know, good, is it chooses the right things, but your ego is always seeking pleasure.
Mhm.
And it's hard to explain, but yeah, I can definitely see this being, I can see Pattinson being the ego and Willem Dafoe's character being the id. And I wouldn't put it past this director to have both these things being inspiration. It's a little harder to explain on the spot, but it's possible. Right. I think it's definitely a theory that could work. Yes.
I don't. But then it's sort of like, okay, so were those two guys actually there at a lighthouse, or is this just something happening in the mind? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that they both have to be real. Or Ephraim.
And the last one,
he's saying what they're saying is that Ephraim and Thomas, not Thomas Dafoe, Thomas Pattinson, like,
yes,
the two minds in the one, that the whole accident was just in his head, that he's psychotic, basically. But I don't know about this theory.
It's a good one. I just think the Greek one is really solid because of the direct correlations. Last one is, or right? Is this the last one? There's not another one. Which is the theory. It's a commentary on man's complicated desires.
This one is basically. I think this one fits really well as well. You want me to read this one?
You can read this one.
Okay, so this final theory, wrapping up the analysis of the lighthouse theories, goes hand in hand with the other ideas because they both touch on desire. Without mythology and psychoanalysis at play, the A24 movie is still an intriguing image about man's complex desire and how giving into them out of anger or boredom does not end happily. Yeah, first of all, I think like the psychoanalysis and the grief thing are not like confirmed, but very much highly regarded as basically what's going on here. Like I think there is a very deep Freudian psychology root in this movie. I don't know about the whole that, I mean, because the whole idea is they're not saying that Egerton. Now, why I keep saying Egerton? Ephraim. They're not saying that Ephraim doesn't exist. They're saying that inside his mind, Ephraim and himself are playing two different parts of like the Freudian mind, the id and the ego. So, but in terms of this theory about the they explain that the sexual frustration plays a big part in this movie, and it does. Robert Pattinson can be seen as sexually frustrated as images of him and a mermaid together are often depicted, and he and Willem Dafoe's almost kiss during a drunken fight where they're dancing. Pattinson himself supports this theory, and he says, "Isn't it really a love story in a ways, where they just don't know what to do with each other? In so many ways, you're thinking how much of the relationship is actually happening. How much of it is in Ephraim's head? William's character can just be a normal boss, but there's some kind of sub-dom relationship or something where I'm exaggerating in my head his dominance over me because I kind of want it in a strange way. It always reads as a very sensual relationship. It wasn't just about a boss and his worker. Also, he's kind of mad as well. I'm pretty conscious of how I wanted the relationship to come across. In a lot of ways, he sort of wanted a dad."
Pushing each other's buttons out of the threat of who they are.
Yeah.
both guilty. They say it's a simple story with existential roots and identity things. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
And then I like this main headline right here: more questions than answers. That's what this movie is, but in a really good way.
but yeah, this movie will not give you the pleasure of like closure.
Yeah.
You will be left wondering what happened, and like a lot of the reviews say from critics, it'll like after the credits are done, you'll still be thinking about this movie and what has happened, and you'll be trying to figure it out. So don't go into this movie thinking that it's going to be something you're going to understand, because you won't. So
Well, I mean, it's not like you won't understand it. You're not gonna like walk away confused. You're gonna walk away knowing. I mean, you are, but not in a bad way. It's not like a movie where like that was a waste of my time. I didn't understand a thing. It was more like it just leaves you wondering, not confused, wondering what the bigger picture is here. You know, like
yeah,
because I think it'd be a discredit to say it's just plain confusing, because it's more like an adventure. You know.
mm-hmm.
It's not like the director was like, throw that in there because it'll just confuse everyone. It's great. It's more like this will get people thinking.
It's methodic.
Yeah, that's what I like about it. Is like you're thinking yourself while you're watching this. You're like, wait, did that happen? Did that really happen? Has it been that long? You feel like you're with them. You know, you're like, oh, geez, has it been months?
Has it been and it's actually not a long. It's an hour and 50 minutes, so it's not a bad, terribly long movie. So it gives you just enough time. So do you want to talk about? We're coming up on the 30-minute mark. Do you want to talk about the reviews?
Yeah, I'm going to bring up right now the. Let's start with the IMDb.
The trusted source.
Yes, and so the average score out of 193,000 reviews is a 7.4 out of 10. We're going to go look at the breakdown here.
There's a lot of 7.4 out of 10 movies.
We're seeing a lot of 8s and a lot of 7s. I mean, we're seeing 27. The highest score in a category is 27% for 8 out of 10. And then we're still seeing a lot of 10s, a lot of 9s, a lot of 7s, and we start to dip down below almost.
It seems
below.
like this movie ranges from a 7 to a 9.
Yeah, if we want to put it in there, yeah. It's definitely the
breaking it down. Let's see.
That's why I
this movie. Interestingly, this movie hit well with people that are
under 18.
Under 18, but not a lot of reviews there. So it's kind of
this is weird because this is a movie I would not think is something that a younger crowd would enjoy. I mean, I guess I just don't know how many people. I don't really know the demographic of people who are interested in psychological horror. I just didn't think like it would be people under 18. I figure that's the Marvel Star Wars crowd. So.
This has a median score of an 8, which I agree, and the mean is 7.4, which is why we get that. So I'd say IMDb has a fair rating.
Let's move on to Rotten Tomatoes then.
The tomato meter is interesting because it has a 90% certified fresh. So critics loved this movie.
They ate it up. Nom.
And the audience score is basically around what IMDb is.
Yeah, they're both the same.
7.2%. Really. Critics did love this movie, though. I mean, a lot of people gave this movie 5s. Here's a 1-star review from Hillary J.
It's not even worth looking at those, but okay, it'll be funny.
What did I just watch? Bad doesn't even begin to describe this film. Willem Dafoe's character came right off the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. Kept waiting to experience Rotten Tomatoes 92%. Huge disappointment. Another one by KCF. No narrative to draw you in, no characters to get behind or even remotely sympathize with. No journey to go on. Such a massive disappointment after trawling the witch.
No journey to go on.
They missed the boat. They missed the boat.
Listen,
like
they've been stuck just like them. Yeah, they've been stuck just like they were. I don't know.
I liked when he absolutely destroyed that seagull.
Yeah, I thought that was another hallucination when all the blood was in the water.
Some people just
wait.
Fuzz Aldrin.
I'm curious. How's it going? Welcome.
Somebody, somebody,
here.
somebody named Gabagool gave it a 5 stars and said, "Ye fond of me lobster."
That was a good scene.
But you're fond of me lobster, right? You like my lobster.
Say
you
it!
like my lobster. Say you like my lobster.
Say you're fond of me, lobster. And then at the end of that scream, his character, Pattinson's like, "All right, you have it your way. I'm fond of your lobster." That was one of the funny moments. I was gonna say, you know how the reason he smashed up the seagull was because he saw like the reservoir where they keep the water, and it was like there was chopped up seagulls in it, and there was blood everywhere.
Yeah,
I think that was a hallucination.
and like the water was coming out all dirty and stuff.
It was coming out bloody. I think that was a hallucination, and it was just trying. If you want to talk about, spiritual forces here, I want to say that it was probably the seagull tempting him to do it. Like,
Do it.
like do it, kill
Do
me,
it. You won't smash.
and
me.
I will become more powerful than you could possibly imagine. Because I don't think that was real. Because obviously, if it was real, they'd be like, "Oh shit, we're out of water because there's blood in it," and Willem Dafoe's character would be like, "Oh god, there's blood in the water," you know. So I feel like that was one of the hallucinations, as well as a lot of other things.
I think a lot of these 1-star reviews, as I'm kind of just scrolling through, people just didn't understand it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is if it's like if you're not gonna
It's misunderstood.
if you're not gonna take the time to try and understand it or like do a little research, it's not for you. You know, there's.
So what will you rank this movie?
I want to hear your score first on this one.
You want to hear my score first?
I'm curious.
I think that this movie gets. I'm gonna sit it at. I'm gonna sit it at an 8. Solid 8.
You know what? It's funny you say that. I was gonna say solid 8. So
it's weird how we agree on some of these things.
well, sometimes we've been pretty much in the agreement. The thing is, all of our movies so far this year have been 8s and above. So we gotta watch some. We just watched some. Bad movies.
Wait. So Fuzz Aldrin says that the Lighthouse was okay and that his score is average. So what's an average score to you on a 1 to 10 scale?
Yeah, we were just talking about it, how, like, to give it a higher score, you just got to be really into the theories of it and really, like, because this movie is really deep in terms of, like, Greek mythology and psychology, and I think that's what really gave us the reasoning for the higher score here.
So I want to know what Fuzz Aldrin thinks.
Yeah,
is like a 5 out of 10 an average score? Because like sort of the way that we talk about our ranking, it's okay. 6 for us is like. What's a 6 for us? It's like
a 6 for us is like, I think. Well, didn't you write it down?
Well, Reminiscence is a 5.8. I forgot where I wrote it.
It's a 5.8.
It
deserves worse. So it's okay. It's in the ranking.
Oh yeah, like 1 to I think 1 to 3 was like don't ever watch it again.
Yeah.
4 to 6 was like a one-time watch, and then 7.
7 to 8 was like worth multiple watches. Like it's really
it's worth another watch, and so
9 and 10s are like
you're getting up into this is like peaking.
So I guess that
okay. I mean, if you thought it was average, I would understand that.
Yeah. Totally.
I think for me personally, like giving it an 8 is because you have Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson. Those two guys alone make this movie great. I think the thought behind the practicality of filming it the way that they filmed it, I thought the writing was good, and I thought the atmosphere was good. The scoring on it was good.
Oh yeah.
Like it nailed all the parts that it needed.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
Too artsy fartsy for you. Yeah, I mean,
I
wouldn't consider myself like a movie snob, but you know, if I think it's a good movie, then you know, it's. Would I watch this again? I wouldn't personally watch this again. I know Cody would.
I would just.
But I
want to watch it again just to better. Now that I know the Greek mythology theory and all that, I want to watch it just to see it, because apparently you're going to see a lot. You know, I'll see a lot of detail I didn't see before, And this movie's just really deep and really well thought out. That's why I want to explore it one more time. Because I love that aspect ratio. It just makes it so, I don't know, especially watching it like really late at night. It just there's just something special about it. So I
imagine
really
watching it in theaters.
Yeah,
you know,
I know.
Like how weird that would have been to watch it on big screen.
I wish this would, if this is one of those movies where like I wish I saw it in theaters.
I thought something like Shutter Island is similar to The Lighthouse, but much Shutter Island.
Add that to the list.
Shutter Island.
Shutter Island. Do you want me to put it on the stream?
Oh, this has Leonardo DiCaprio, Mark Ruffalo, Ben Kingsley. It's from 2010. Shutter Island. I never heard of this movie. It's 2 hours and 18 minutes.
It's kind of the opposite of The Lighthouse in the sense of like having a much higher audience score than a lower critic score.
I'll add it to the list.
Add it to the list.
So, would you consider The Lighthouse a favorite?
No. I think we can both agree that it's not like a.
I agree.
Like, it's really good. I enjoyed it. It was a great time. I'd recommend it to people who like this genre. It is not on the ITM favorites list. To be on the favorites list, Aldrin, you have to be.
You can't change anything about it. And it has to be rewatchable.
Yeah, if it's on our favorites list, it means that we wouldn't want anything changed, and we would watch it over and over. We'd recommend it to people. So, yeah, favorite's a favorite, basically. And this is a really good movie. We enjoyed it, but it is not on the Into the Movieverse favorites list.
Is Fuzz Aldrin the first cat on the moon?
Yes, correct. So, what do you want to do next? Episode 16, what are we doing?
I think... Well, now that he brings up that Shutter Island is similar to The Lighthouse...
It'd be a good comparison.
It would be a good comparison. So I almost want to watch it next, even though I said I want to watch Good Time. But, I mean, we can still watch Good Time. And, yeah, we could... I mean... So this is available on Prime, it says. So as long as we have a Prime subscription, I think we are good. I mean, why not? Why not try it?
Yeah, I mean... It'd be really good because we can compare it to, well, we got Leonardo DiCaprio, and we were big fans of The Revenant. And I don't think there's any huge movie releases coming soon that we are anticipating doing day of reactions to.
Oh, dude. Okay. We got to talk about Lightyear.
Is it out now?
Lightyear, no.
Okay.
Are you interested in watching that, though?
I mean, yeah, I don't think it's gonna be a bad watch. Honestly, I don't see it being bad. It's a Pixar movie, right?
Yeah,
but it's
like
Buzz Lightyear.
The origins of Buzz Lightyear,
and especially because of the voice actor Chris Evans doing that movie. I'm not really into animated Pixar movies. They tend to just.
But this looks really good.
Yeah, it doesn't look like your normal Pixar movie. It's very realistic.
We got Morbius April 1st, which
Yeah.
I really want to see Ambulance with Jake Gyllenhaal, and I don't know how to pronounce that other guy's name, but Ambulance looks really good.
Skipping Lightyear, yeah, I don't blame you. I'm not a big Pixar person, and I
like Disney.
I'm not gonna go see it in theaters. I can tell you that.
I'm gonna be over. I'm not gonna be in theaters. I'll wait for it to drop on
Disney.
Yeah, I'll wait for it to drop on Disney. I'm not going to go and spend money to go watch it in the theater. But I will watch it because I am a Disney fan. So there's got to be one of us that is into Disney to stay up on those types of trends.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, like, that's going to be... yeah, so, Aldrin, we also do on our...
that'll be like a 60-second one.
On our YouTube and our Instagram, we post 60-second reviews. So if you want to just see how that turns out or how it is, Luca's probably going to end up doing a 60-second review on it. But yeah, sure.
Maybe I'll do like 2 parts of it if it's really good. But other than that, I'll probably just briefly talk about it.
Yeah.
We got Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. I also like that series. It's a really good series.
You enjoy that.
That's April 15th. April 22nd is when The Northman comes out.
I am now, after watching Lighthouse, I'm interested.
The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Have you seen that trailer with Nicolas Cage? It's like basically just talking about him. It's
a Nicolas Cage movie. They still make those.
Dude, it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be good.
A good Nicolas Cage movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean his movies are always like fun to watch, but they're not really highly rated.
May, we're getting Multiverse of Madness.
Oh well, that's gonna be,
let's see what else is interesting here.
I don't think either of us are gonna
Top
skip that
Gun
one.
Maverick is coming out May
Yes.
27th.
Finally, how many times has that been delayed? I'm excited for that one. Top Gun is such a good movie.
And then you're getting in June 10th another Jurassic World movie. I'm not gonna that'll put me to sleep.
Yeah, they just kind of copy and paste those.
And then Lightyear is coming out in June as well. July, you got Minions: The Rise of Gru. Definitely see that on a 60-second. July 8th, you got Thor: Love and Thunder.
Oh yeah,
That'll be good. Bullet Train. I want to see Bullet Train. I heard that was.
Wait, is that the Brad Pitt movie?
Yes.
I actually saw like a really bad ad for that, and it looked like like a rip-off like fan fiction movie, and I was like, what is going on? Like a fan film, and I was like, this actually doesn't. It looks bad, but in a good way. I mean, that's a lot of good stuff coming out, and that gives
October you got Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1.
That gives us a good like spacing to also do some classics and some request movies.
Yeah.
You know, since there's
December
not a lot coming out.
December 16th, Avatar 2.
This year?
This year.
It's been so long.
That would be a great way to close out the year, because I've heard a lot of good things about Avatar 2.
Well, it doesn't exist yet.
What do you mean it doesn't exist yet?
There's no trailers for it. How can you know there's anything good about it?
I saw something on social media
of course
somebody was like, I saw an early showing of it, or like a clip or something, and they were saying it was like super emotional and all this stuff. So
I can't wait to see the graphical improvement, because that was one of the first times. I think that was the first time a movie was ever shot full mocap, full CGI. There's almost nothing real about that movie, yet they managed to pull it off. So,
it looked amazing.
Yeah, but for its time. So like now it looks but dude, can you imagine what it looks like now? So
it's gonna be so good.
Yeah, I really hope. I'm just worried about the story direction. Like I wonder what they're doing. It's so weird it took so long to get a sequel.
Well, now they're think about how much time they spent. Like it's gonna have to be done full CG again. And it has to be better than the last time.
Well, yeah, but now I'm saying like that full CG isn't as difficult as it was then. The technology's so much better.
Yeah, but if they put something out that is going to be this on par with Avatar, then I don't know.
No, it's going to be better.
I think this time around, so now you kind of have those two people like morphed into those bodies, and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be. They're probably going to be, I don't know, saving their planet from something, or building back up. I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, is the original cast going to be? We'll find out. But
it has. Those guys are still alive, right?
I guess. Well, we don't know how long it's been. It's probably been how long has it been since that movie? 10 years.
I think so.
So it's probably been that long in that universe as well. They could do a time jump. We'll see when it comes out. But I think that's pretty much it for today.
All right, so for next for episode 16, we'll take Fuzz Aldrin's recommendation here and do a comparison between Shutter Island and The Lighthouse, because I think that would be a good comparison.
Yeah.
Lastly, this movie, we have rated it an 8 out of 10.
Yes, The Lighthouse.
Just to recap, it is not a favorite, but we recommend that you should watch it at least once.
I'm going to say a second time. Go for a second time.
Go for a second time if you don't understand it the first time.
But like in a good way.
After reading theories.
We discussed it. Yeah. Go watch this movie. It's worth a watch. Make sure to subscribe so you can see all our other reviews. And also on our social medias, we have 60-second reviews for movies that don't make a full episode.